morning, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to those of you here in person, and welcome to those joining online. It's my enormous pleasure to welcome you here on behalf of the University of Central Asia and our co-organizers, IGZ and ISDC from Germany, and our conference partners sitting alongside me here, American University of Central Asia, the Critical Ecosystem Partnership Fund, Mercy Corps, World Bank, and the UN Sexual and Reproductive Health Agency. A big thank you to all of these organizations, and also special thanks to my colleagues from UCA for all of their work and dedication in organizing the logistics of this operation. It's not an easy task, and touch on wood, so far, so good. For those that don't know, my name is Christopher Gerry, and I'm the Dean of the Graduate School of Development of the University of Central Asia. By background, I'm a labor economist, moved into health economics and then public health. But no matter my or your discipline or methodological preference, there is so much of interest in this year's Life in Kyrgyzstan conference. It really is a demonstration, if any were needed, of the immense value and richness of individual, household, and community longitudinal data. These are data that allow us to understand the lives and the livelihoods, the economies and the societies of this country. And not many countries, particularly in the global south, can boast such data. The University of Central Asia does, and will cherish and support these data, their dissemination, and their future collection in all ways that we can. But looking ahead to this conference, which actually, you may not be aware, it started last night with two great panels, one on climate change and one which I participated in on gender. And as Dean of UCA, of the Graduate School of Development at UCA, I'm particularly proud of the fact that almost 20, I think, of our young and not so young scholars from our Institute of Public Policy and Administration and the Mountain Societies Research Institute will be presenting their work over these 3 days. And I'm looking forward to these presentations and all of the other presentations. I'm looking forward to gaining and learning new insights. And I'm looking forward to imagining new research questions and policy interventions that stem from the research that we are about to enjoy. But to whet your appetite just a little more, I'd like to invite a few brief words of welcome and introduction from our partners and co-conveners. First of all, from the Vice President for Academic Affairs at the American University of Central Asia, Nurgul Ukueva.
Thank you. Good morning, dear conference participants. On behalf of American University of Central Asia, it's my pleasure to welcome you to this conference. It's my special pleasure to welcome guests who have come a long way to Kyrgyzstan. Welcome to Bishkek. This is after 2 years of meeting online. It's a great pleasure to meet everyone in person. I also want to welcome our online participants. At AUCA, we are dedicated users of Life in Kyrgyzstan survey, for both for educational purposes and for research and discovery. We are also dedicated supporters of Life in Kyrgyzstan conference. This is a great platform for us to exchange ideas, to present our own ideas, to also this is an opportunity for networking and finding new partners, co-authors for our researchers. It's a great pleasure to see our alumni presenting, our former students presenting at this conference. It's also a great pleasure to see our faculty members and researchers presenting at the conference. This conference has become a truly interdisciplinary conference, a great platform to exchange ideas across different disciplines and fields, ranging from climate science to gender issues, poverty, and different topics. This is a great opportunity for interdisciplinary exchange of ideas. And I would like to thank the organizers of the conference and supporters of the conference and all the participants, and wish the conference very productive meeting and exchange of ideas, great discoveries. Welcome again to Bishkek and to the conference.
Thank you very much, Vice President Ukueva. Next, please welcome for a senior economist from the World Bank, Saida Ismaulakhunova.
Thank you very much. It's my great honor to be presented in the Life in Kyrgyzstan conference. I didn't miss any of the conferences, and I'm glad to see that each year we have a higher quality of papers. We have much higher quality of presentations, and we do see a higher impact on public policies. And actually this was the objective when this first Life in Kyrgyzstan conference started. And it was the objective, I believe, when the Life in Kyrgyzstan panel survey was first in the field. I am really glad to see that in the Kyrgyz Republic, but also in other Central Asian countries, we do see that data now more and more used in policies. Even the Kyrgyz government and the midterm strategy of the government now includes one of the objective of data-driven governance. And this is very important. It's important because each of those who use data for research, they might have a very significant impact on life of each of citizens in the Kyrgyz Republic and other Central Asian countries. So let me, on behalf of the World Bank, welcome all of you on this great event and wish all of you great productive discussions. I think that it's a real honor that this year we could make it offline. It means that we can exchange not just ideas, but maybe our concrete recommendations to the government, concrete suggestions to the civil society to have a joint and much larger impact. Thank you very much, and over.
Thank you very much. And if I may introduce also the Monitoring, Evaluation and Learning Manager at Mercy Corps, Izzat Kurmangaliyev.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the conference. I'm here representing Mercy Corps. Sadly, our country manager couldn't join, but I'm very happy and I'm going to answer all the questions that we can. Mercy Corps is a global non-governmental organization which has been represented in Kyrgyzstan for a very long time. We've been supporters of the conference for many years. We've done several researches together and hopefully will continue to do so. Last year, we've launched another USDA-funded big program for 5 years where we're supporting schools with hot meals. We've just recently, soon are starting with the commodity distribution, but also doing several researches, and some of them are going to be on sustainability of hot meal programs in Kyrgyzstan. We're making a lot of effort to make it a sustainable solution for when we're gone. And so we're hoping with the help of research organization, with the data we're gathered, we're able to make proper data-driven decisions that are able to help the country. And we're very happy to be represented here. Thanks, everyone. Hope it's a productive conference for every participant. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And also please welcome National Program Analyst on Youth and Population Dynamics from the UN Sexual and Reproductive Health Agency. Back-to-back Kanazarov.
Yeah, thank you. Dear colleagues, dear participants, it's a great pleasure for us to take part in annual conference on life in Kyrgyzstan. UNFPA this year is supporting for the second time, and we are privileged to do so. As you know, UNFPA stands strong for data-driven culture. We support the evidence-based data, and I think, as colleagues already mentioned, it's a great opportunity for UN system and including the UNFPA to strengthen the data collection, to disseminate the data, which is crucial for supporting the implementation of all the strategic documents, because without the availability of the data, without the availability of the evidence-based data, it's impossible to implement all the important strategic documents and to advocate for issues such as gender-based violence, climate change, and any other policies which are important for the population. And once again, I want to thank all the organizers as well as for our speakers who came today to present their topics, to present their research and policy documents, which are valuable for our country. All the research today we will have in our session, for example, in the demography, it's about the population and it's people-centered, and I believe it will be productive for all of our participants. Once again, welcome. For all international and regional participants, welcome for online participants. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And last, but very far from least, Professor Tilman Brück, who's a professor at Humboldt University in Berlin, the group leader of IGZ and the director of ISDC, but I think most importantly, also the brains, the energy, and the entrepreneurship behind the Life in Kyrgyzstan survey.
Thank you very much, Chris. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome also from my side to this 8th Life in Kyrgyzstan conference. I'm really delighted to see how it's catching on and how especially the commitment to evidence-based policy making and data as a foundation for understanding and learning is really catching on and seems to be contagious in a very positive way. And I'm very proud that the Life in Kyrgyzstan study has been making a contribution to the human development in Kyrgyzstan by providing one of the key data sets which can underpin the study of how people live in Kyrgyzstan, what they do, what people do, what decisions they take, what welfare they enjoy. And that is really at the heart of what the Life in Kyrgyzstan study is about. We track over 8,000 individuals across the country. We have been doing so since 2010. And these 8,000 individuals live in 3,000 households. And our strategy is to follow each and every individual in these households. If a son or a daughter get married, form a new household, we'll track them too. If they have children born into the household, we'll track them too. If they go abroad and then come back, we'll track them too. So it's kind of like a life sentence if you are part of our sample, but people have been very grateful and gracious about responding to our somewhat lengthy questionnaires and answering all these different questions. We are interested in different domains of lives and livelihoods in Kyrgyzstan. We like to know the family structure, about employment, about entrepreneurship, about farming, but we also care about attitudes, what people think. Do they trust their government? Do they get on with their neighbors? What's the level of social cohesion in the country? And several of our studies have built on that data. We also like to understand the social situation, the gender situation, intra-household bargaining. Because we interview every adult and every youth in the household, we're actually able to say a lot about how people relate to each other, even within the households. That's quite a unique feature of our data. And because we've been tracking people since 2010, always the same individuals, we are able to say things about the long-term dynamics in the country, the social dynamics, and track also the small and incremental changes that might be building up over time that a more short-term perspective might not reveal in quite the same way. So we have already 6 waves of data. They're publicly available. I'm glad to announce that also the 2019 wave of data is now available for download. If you're interested in this, if you're a student, a researcher, if you work in policy, if you're a practitioner, if you work in an NGO, if somehow you need data, or maybe your partners or colleagues need data, or you want to hire a researcher to understand the background long-term dynamics in Kyrgyzstan, you can freely access this data. You just have to register on the data center website so we know who you are and the data doesn't get abused for sort of commercial or other purposes. But that's basically what the Life in Kyrgyzstan study is. It's a unique resource in Central Asia. It's the longest running panel study in Central Asia. In fact, I think it's the second longest running panel study in any former Soviet Union country, except for the Russian longitudinal monitoring study. I'm not quite sure what's happening to that just now. Yeah, we live in turbulent times. Lots of things are happening. The pandemic, the war in Ukraine. There has been conflict, unfortunately, in Kyrgyzstan itself at the border with Tajikistan. The world economy is very volatile, but our survey tracks all these changes over time, not in real time. That's not the objective. That's not the strength. And we can see how the changes in institutions impact on people. So I hope you enjoyed all the presentations these 2 days. And thank you to our partners. Thank you to all of you here on the panel and the other partners that make Life in Kyrgyzstan study and conference possible. In particular to our premier partner, if I can put it like that, the University of Central Asia, represented here by Chris, under his dynamic new leadership of the Graduate School of Development. We enjoy working with you. We enjoy working with his team. Thank you to his team who have been helping to prepare this conference. They do a fantastic job, really excellent, and I'm very grateful. Thank you also to my colleague, Damir Sinaliyev, who's the other person who has made all of this possible. So if I'm the father, then he is the, well, I don't know quite how that sentence continues of the study, but without him, I think we wouldn't be here either. So thank you very much, and I hope you look forward to the conference as much as I do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tilman, for that fantastic review of the Life in Kyrgyzstan survey. So finally, before we get to the real good stuff, that's the research that you're here to see, a little bit of housekeeping that I have to deal with. So firstly, at 10:30-ish, or immediately after the first keynote speech is finished, there will be a group photograph. And I'm just looking at Daniel, hoping that he's going to remind me where this takes place. Okay,
right
it's so at the back of the room. So before you escape the room for coffee, please gather there to have your photograph taken. We want to do it this morning because you're all looking so lovely. Secondly, so this is the main conference room, the Kakera room. There are two other rooms in which the panel sessions take place. There's the Basogo room, which is that side. You go out of the right-hand door here, it's to the right there, and on the opposite side is the AUCA room, I believe. So there'll be plenty of people to help you find them. And then finally, the observant among you looking at the program may be a little bit perturbed that the period of time between 3 and 3:30 has been removed. It doesn't exist. But don't worry, you're not part of some strange experiment in temporal discontinuities. It's simply a mistake in the timetabling. So everything will be moved forward by 30 minutes in the afternoon. So the lunch break is as advertised, 12:30 till 1:30. The first afternoon parallel sessions are as advertised, 1:30 till 3 o'clock. Then the coffee break is 3 until 3:30. And then the final parallel session begins at 3:30 and runs through till around 5 o'clock. And this evening, there is the reception, and that will be in this room from around about 5:30, I believe. Is that right?
Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good. So that's the housekeeping. So without further ado, let me thank again our partners who have spoken this morning to introduce the conference, and we'll move seamlessly on to the first keynote speech of the conference. So I'll just give a moment for my colleagues to take their place in the audience so they can enjoy the presentation, and I'll invite our speaker to the podium.